All right, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining today for Sliding Doors Beyond the Barn. This is an AIA CEU approved event presented by Serenity Sliding Door Systems. We've got Matt Klee on today, who's going to be presenting the AIA approved course. And before we get started with today's course, we're just going to do a quick little intro while folks are joining to let you know about Acelab. So we're helping out with hosting today's course. My name is Bo. I'm here with Acelab, and I've also got my colleague Helen here as well. I'm going to go ahead and let Helen give the quick intro, show you guys how to find Serenity on Acelab, as well as a few other tips and tricks, and then we'll have some opportunities to sign up for a one-on-one demo if you're interested in learning a bit more after today's webinar. Matt, would you mind stopping your screen share momentarily so that Helen could take over?
No problem.
Thank you so much. All right, Helen, feel free to take it away.
Cool. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Bo. Hi, everyone. I'm Helen. I'm the Director of Architect Experience here at Acelab. My job is essentially making sure y'all have a great time using our product. So what I'm going to start with today is how you can find Serenity on the system and what to expect after the webinar. And then from there, I'm going to jump in and show y'all a little sneak peek of some stuff that's coming up that we have a limited space in a program on. All right. So after this webinar, you're going to receive a either myself or my colleague Evelyn, we're going to set up a conversation for you within your Acelab account. You'll be able to navigate to that by going to Workspace and then Conversations. You'll also get an email alerting you that we've initiated that conversation. What we essentially do is we take what y'all say you need from this survey, product literature, technical literature, etc., and we'll be introducing you to Matt and talking about what you're looking for there, and then we let y'all take the conversation from there. So keep an eye out for that. And also, if you want to save their products or just learn a little bit more, you can always type the brand name up here in this search bar. Make sure you have brand selected here, and then we're going to jump into their product page, excuse me. So here you can hit contact if you want to reach out to Matt directly after this. Again, that'll start a conversation up here in your Acelab account. You'll see some information here, and then you'll also see all of their great products. So lots of great stuff. You can hit this see more button too. Just make sure you can see everything that you need to. Here's some additional photos and things like that. I recommend if you find some of these that you know already that you want to be using in your project, you can hit this save button and then put them into a project folder. If you want to learn more about how to set up projects and get your whole team collaborating in Acelab, as Bo mentioned, that's the private demo that we can do. It's pretty quick, 15, 30-minute call. And so that's what that looks like. And just want to also quickly plug that we are doing a program right now. This is what's coming out in the next like 6 weeks or so for only certain folks. This is the ability for everything that you've saved within your project. So let's say we save some Serenity sliding doors. We can then have those and generate a schedule within Acelab, export that, put that into our drawing set. You can note, where these are in terms of approvals, the number, all that information, where the products maybe been used on previous projects as well. So all this is what's coming out. And if you join this limited edition program, essentially what you get is that myself and my colleague Armand, we will be building out your firm library for you. And then we just need 3 to 4 kind of drawing sets, spec sheets, things like that. So we can start that, and then all of that information will be translated into this format, and you get early access to use this feature and also tell us what's working, what isn't working for you. So it's a really great opportunity, limited spots available. So I'll drop my email here too. You can email me if you're interested, but I look forward to meeting with y'all. And thank you so much for letting me join, Bo and Matt.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Helen. Appreciate it. And yeah, we've got that poll up, so feel free to say yes to the poll or keep an eye out in the chat for some info from Helen on reaching out about that program. All right, a few housekeeping items for me before we go ahead and get started. So we did ask for AIA numbers upon registration. We'll also send over a form in the chat momentarily where, in case you're worried you forgot to include your AIA number, you can submit it to us there as well. And then other than that, just wanted to mention, please feel free to submit any questions or comments throughout today's presentation to the Q&A. We'll typically have some time to get to some of those at the end of today's presentation. And if we don't have time to get to your question, we'll have a record of it so we can follow up after today's event as well. All right, that's it for me for now. Matt, whenever you're ready, feel free to take it away for today's presentation.
Cool. Thanks all. Thanks, Bo and Helen. I'll jump right in, and then I'll try to make this I don't know, keep within 30, 40 minutes and leave some questions at the end, but it is also very informal. So if you guys want to drop anything in the chat or stop me, feel free to do so. Can you see my screen okay, Bo?
Yep, yeah, we're
Okay,
seeing
cool.
you.
Awesome. Cool. So my name's Matt Klee. I'm Director of Sales for Serenity Sliding Door. Thanks in advance again for your time. I understand it's valuable and we appreciate it. Again, these are informal, so please drop any Q&A in there if you want or chat and I'll manage that. Also, let me know later if you want a certificate of completion. This is an AIA accredited course and we will handle that in the coming weeks should you want an actual certificate. Just for prosperity there, this is a AIA accredited course. This is course number 404109294, course SD0413. This is high level. The purpose of this course is just to, if you guys aren't familiar with sliding door systems, how detailed we can get with it. We'll cover kind of applications and verticals that this will fit into, and also any attenuation, sound, fire, anything like that that these systems can or cannot do. So main learning objectives is the how sliding doors reduce the space. That's a big specifying option here. It's a space saving solution really at the end of the day. The different components that we offer and how they attach and attach to the wall. The many functions we have, how to write the specifications, and then ADA sound, smoke and fire and all that. We'll get into that later. So why use sliding doors? This slide does shows a good image of the why. You could see if you had a chair or possibly even a person, any kind of configuration, when that door slides instead of swings, you can now kind of configure your room properly. So that chair, for example, wouldn't be there should that door slide instead of swing. Another benefit is it can be, I like to go over this slide. It's kind of more of an ROI than a cost savings, but also it can reduce your footprint. Now I know depending on the vertical, if it's, let's say, a healthcare or something like that, you have to keep your room size. But if it's a medical office building, dentist office, if we got out there early enough, this is a good example. You can reduce 2 square foot per room to go to sliding doors instead of swinging doors. So again, depending on your footprint, you can get maybe 1 or 2 more offices on that floor plan, which becomes a revenue stream for your end users. So there's a variety of ways to see the cost savings benefit and the value added down the road. But this does a good example of showing the why. Here's our components. So basically the most popular version of this, it's a surface mount system we'll get into later, but this is the cased open frame and the trim that would wrap your drywall cased opening like any no-stop frame. This is the receiving channel that would sit over that frame and the door slides and latches into. This is our backer, track, and fascia. So there's the backer that sits into the wall, and then the roller set would slip into there, and then the fascia would slip into there. So it's a 3-piece unit that actually becomes a 1-person installation. That's a breakout of that. Here's our soft close assembly, which we'll get into later. Really important component when you're talking about these systems. You always want them to soft close. They can soft close or soft open. But think of your kitchen drawer, the last sort of few inches of the slide, it will catch and close safely and securely. There's your trigger to release that soft close. All sound seals are embedded within that frame. There's some stops, floor guides, and back-to-back pulls. Again, we'll get into some of this here in a little bit. So what is a sliding door system high level? We like to say anything a swing door can do, a sliding door can do. Now there's lockability, there's sound attenuation, there's fire attenuation. And instead of that door swinging whether into the corridor or the room, it's just 1 3/4 inch thick architectural grade door that slides over the opening rather than swings to free up any congestion. Kind of a barn door on steroids. I like to say a barn door is not a sliding door is not a barn door. And the difference is a traditional barn door will just compartmentalize the room. This can latch and secure, therefore, giving you any of those swing door feel things we can do on a sliding door. These are still strong, secure openings. You're not going to have to sacrifice any of that by going to a sliding door over a swinging door. Again, the frame wraps the wall like a traditional no-stop frame. All the hardware mounts on top of that, so it essentially becomes part of the wall, just like any traditional swinging door frame would. Door slab frame options, color finishes, there's no limitations there either. Whether it be wood veneer, we can match any legacy veneer and finish you have on your facilities. We can do plastic laminate, hollow metal, aluminum. Again, anything a swinging door can do, we can match on those finishes here. Really, it's the same OEM partners we have. As far as the frame, again, it's kind of endless. The standards are going to be a black ano or a clear ano. But if you had a Sherwin-Williams color where you need a match, we can do any kind of powder coat on the frame as well. Many door options, whether it's a full glass, flush, side light, transom, pairs. This slide does a good job of showing just really the many options you have when specifying these, and you're just not going to be limited. Can do some lead line and impact resistant as well. 3 main valance options. We have our standard valance. That's going to become at no charge. And you have a slope valance, which is good for the healthcare vertical, kind of to keep things sanitary and dust free. That is an upcharge, but an option. And then there's a returned or a shrouded valance. So if you wanted to keep that clean on the edge more for aesthetics, we can do a returned valance as well. Many different hardware options. We'll get into a little bit more later on in the presentation. But we have a self-closing or a spring closer. So we have some UL 1784 smoke rated attenuation, and that would be achieved like this is a closer on a sliding door basically. So that door would always close behind you for any security or smoke attenuation. There's an automatic door bottom that we use on smoke and fire and sound as well. Basically, it's always concealed when that door closes. It hits that strike, and that auto bottom will drop. That's an option. And we could also do an electric operator. So if you wanted access control or touch-free, again, you don't have to sacrifice that on these sliding door systems. They can be automatic operator as well. The soft close is going to be a very important part of these systems. So you're going to want to use them. It's a heavy door hanging there, and you're just not going to want to have that swinging freely into the opening. We feel that we have some of the best components in the category. Ours is tested to 100,000 cycles or 100 kilograms. They can be replaced if and when that happens, whether it's abuse or these things happen. This can be parted out, but that's a snapshot of our soft close and how we feel it's very robust. Again, smoke and sound. So there's an S label UL 1784 smoke rated sliding door system that we can offer. That's going to be self-latching and self-closing like a traditional swing door would need to. Drop seal as well. There's a few options which we'll get into I think on the next slide, but there's some sound attenuation as well. Basically, there's an NIC 40 or an STC 35. The NIC 40 is a field tested equivalency with a standard structural composite lumber core slab, or you have an STC 35, which is a lab tested core at a bit of a higher price point. That's a sound attenuation system as well. And just to touch on these two, I just want to make sure we're clear about the difference between NIC 40 and STC 35. So again, the NIC 40 it's an equivalency field test on the SCL core. So it is going to be more budget friendly. And the STC 35 is a lab tested system that's going to come at a higher price point. So what I recommend is when you want any sound attenuation, to maybe price them out both ways for your budget. And then also just to give you some kind of sort of equivalency, an STC 32 is kind of a traditional medical office door, which would be a standard particle core door. So you're kind of getting about 3 to 4 more points on a traditional door. So just be aware of your price and budget and your options. And we can work through that if and when the time comes. There's a variety of hardware options, which is really what kind of changed the game in this category. So there's a lock set that has a button at the end of the door, and when that door closes, that button will hit the receiving channel and will release the bolt automatically. Therefore, you have a free egress, you have auto latching, you have any kind of key system, any kind of functionality. I mean, it really is like a mortise lock on a swing door, just in a sliding door application. And that kind of changed the game. Now we can get electric strikes, we can get access control, we can get sound, fire. But that lock that we offer is really gives you a lot of options to match any swing door application you need to in this facility, should that be arise. Here's some examples of sort of vertical markets and where we fit into. It could be commercial office space, it could be K through 12, medical office buildings, patient entries, patient baths, hospitality, really wherever you think what I say is it's really congestion, kind of clear congestion, clear swing pass, anywhere it can be a more convenient opening. We probably have a solution for it. Getting into the kind of details of each sort of SKU we have, the surface mounting is going to be the most popular option. With the surface mount system, again, this is basically a case open frame that wraps the drywall casing. The header is then surface mounted, and the receiving channel and then the door is hung with the soft close rollers and some strikes. But this one is most popular. You just got to make sure you've got enough real estate on your wall, and there's some clear and nominal sizes we'll get into later, but this one can offer your STC 35, the operator, the sound, and the most options. This is the most common SKU in the category. We also can do a flush mounted system. So in this scenario, the frame would wrap the wall, so you don't have any sort of obstruction there, but it would have to travel over a side light or a transom. More popular in a commercial office space type application, but can absolutely happen in healthcare, whatever needed. That's a flush mount system. You also have a cantilever system. So basically, if you had in the healthcare space, if you had a bariatric or a patient lift that takes you from the hospital bed to the bath, we could still now use a sliding door over that application and jump that track. So up to 6 inches of track, that door, we'll have to use a double wheel set, will jump that track without coming off. So again, it's really a nice solution because swinging doors around a sliding bariatric lift can be cumbersome. So you don't have to sacrifice that for these applications either. For larger openings or room dividers, or maybe even just getting larger equipment into rooms, we can do a bipart system, and these are simultaneously open. So what that means is if you use the pull handle with one hand, these doors are open and close together. Again, you can get up to, I think, 72 inches of width when they're open. So it's really more for, could be aesthetics or for larger equipment. But that is a SKU we have as well. Also can offer up to a 3-panel telescoping system. This is more for room dividing and an even larger clear opening should you desire, but we can do up to 3 48-inch panels on a telescoping system. Forgive my daughter if you hear that. This is a life of working from home, I'm sure you all know. This is some scaling here. So this is just, we'll get into some other details later, but this is, you don't have to sacrifice any ADA with these systems. This does a good snapshot. We'll get into it later, but basically this is kind of your slab size versus your clear opening size. So you can see the door is going to be larger than the clear opening. That's the biggest sort of learning curve and delta when specifying these categories. And I will show you that a little bit more detail, but there's going to be some overhang. And again, there's 2.5-inch backsets. There's some real details we get into per project, but just know the scaling is larger slab size and you don't have to sacrifice any ADA for the hardware. So this shot does a good picture of showing what I was talking about before. So basically, if you have if you're specifying a 36-inch by 84-inch door in your door schedule, so the clear opening is 36 by 84, your slab size needs to be 8 inches larger than the clear opening. There's a variety of reasons why. There's 5-inch overhang in the door. There's some what we call a trailing edge and a leading edge. So overall, it becomes 8 inches larger. So I just want everyone to sort of make note of this for a couple of reasons. One, for price, and two, for accuracy. So what would happen is if you had a 48-inch clear open, the slab size would have to be 54 inches. So that becomes at a higher price point. And I just want to make sure everybody captures that on the front end. And again, we'll help you. But in the swing door world, going over a 48-inch wood door is a no-no. It happens all the time in the sliding door category, but it can get expensive. So just be aware of that. I also recommend in your door schedule to maybe put the slab size next to the clear size just to not confuse anybody. Because again, if you were to get a 36-inch slab, you're clearly not going to get a 36-inch clear and meet your ADA as an example. So just be aware of that. That's kind of the biggest sort of change that you have to learn. We'll help you with that. Also, if you can invert the studs, and this is going to go back to kind of project management, but there's some stuff that sits on our case open frame. So if you invert the studs at the opening, it also will install much easier as well on the frame. And then we have to block it accordingly, which we'll get into. So clearly another sort of thing to learn when specifying these, we're going to have to block outside of the opening as well because of the travel path of that door. So if you're going to specify these over a traditional swing door, make sure you're blocking outside of the opening. And then there's also a shot of the inverted studs. Just because there's some stuff inside the case opening frame that will sit in there. And again, won't kind of cave in on itself there. Then we'll get into this again. So this is a really good image of the why the door needs to be larger than the clear. So think of it like the patio door going on to your lanai, if you will. That's going to be some overhang there. And then there's some math you can do. So you also want to make sure you have the real estate on your wall size so it can travel over the wall. And one way to do that is it would be clear opening size or the door slab. So if you need a 36-inch clear, you'd have a slab of 44 inches. So the math could be, again, quick math, if you did door slab times 2 plus 11. So if you need a 36-inch clear opening, you basically need 100 inches of wall space, 99. To get that to work. Again, just nuances that you need to be aware of when specifying these that we will help you with. So a lot of benefits when talking about sliding door systems and how they can just provide a lot more ease of use, I like to say, over swing doors. We don't have to sacrifice any AD compliance, any fire, any sound, any hardware, any aesthetics. It's really just a better mousetrap, in my opinion. And that's why they're so popular, just kind of like I said, a barn door on steroids, if you will. This is a project we're proud of up in the Pacific Northwest. This picture's here for a reason. And another thing you want to be aware of is the weights of these doors. So this is actually a 10-foot tall door. And how you achieve that. So there's some weights that we can get into, well, per project that the soft close might overwhelm, but think of, you could do a foam core to keep those weights of that door lighter. And that's what we did here. So this is actually same veneer. It's a plain slice white maple clear, but on a foam core instead of a structural composite in order to lighten up the door to get an oversized slab. So things of that we can work together on a project specific basis. It can help you with any specifications you need, whether it's custom or boilerplate, part numbers, whatever you need, we're here to help. We traditionally live in 083400, but you will see some other specifications that we live in. It's whatever you guys are comfortable with. But that's sort of where we start. And here's some other examples. We've been in 083006 and 081700. Just be aware that it can jump around, and whatever you need, we're there to support you. Many project examples we've been throughout the country. As you can see, it's a lot of healthcare here, but this is a good fit for hospitality. This is a good fit for office. K through 12, it's happening more in. Just be aware that there is many examples of where you can fit these systems. So I am going to open this up to questions and get to those two Q&As and start my video here, if that's okay with you, Bo. So we are tested for, I saw Patrick had a question. We have a smoke rated fire attenuation now. We are going to be tested for a C 45-minute rated in July. So I think the deliverable on that is later this year. But we don't have a 45-minute rated yet, but we should hear it by the end of the quarter. And then I saw auto operator. Yes, we have an auto operator solution as well, which we got into. Sorry, that question might happen a little bit earlier.
All right, and if anybody has a question that they would like to ask out loud, you can also raise your hand. We'll unmute you. You don't have to turn your video on, but if you've got a longer-winded question or something that it feels like you want to talk out, feel free to raise your hand. I'll keep my eye on that. And we'll keep our eye on the chat and the Q&A if anybody has some additional questions as well. And then also, while we're waiting to see if there are any other questions, I do want to mention that we will also have a post-event survey. If you have a moment to take some time to fill that out, that can be super helpful for us. There will also be the ability to add any questions there as well. Right, and while we're waiting to see if we have any more questions, I'm going to do a quick refresher for anyone who might have joined a bit later and missed our quick demo at the beginning. So I'm going to share momentarily and just show you another place where you can go to ask some questions after today's webinar if you have some things that come up after today's event. All right, here we go. Okay, so in case you missed the quick demo at the beginning, everyone who signed up for today's webinar also has a free Acelab account automatically made for them. So definitely go and check out Acelab after today's webinar. And if you would like to schedule a quick demo with someone from Acelab's team, I believe Helen put some information in the chat for that as well. You can also always use this live chat right here to connect with Acelab's team. This is staffed by real people, not by bots. So Helen, who was here at the beginning, is one of the folks who mans this chat and is here to answer any questions that you have, whether it's, how to use the platform or product research questions. So any support that you can need, feel free to use this as well. But quickly want to show you how to get in touch with Serenity's team after today's event. So you can use the search bar at the top to type in the name of any brand that you're looking for. This will search across product categories as well as brands and resources. So you can just click that, head on over to Serenity's page on Acelab. You can use this contact button to get in touch with Matt directly. And then from here, you can also explore more of Serenity's products, save them to your projects, and doing that will also add them to a handy shortlist feature where you can compare products next to each other as well. And then if you use this contact button to reach out, those conversations will get saved for you over in your workspace. So you can go to the workspace on the top right and head to your conversations. You can see all of your conversations here. And then conversations also get nested under projects. So you can upload projects and kind of, nest things under different folders. Everybody has a general research project, and you can use this to kind of organize your conversations, your searches, your products as well. All right, and then one other thing I want to mention while we're here, often folks ask if there could be like a recording of the webinar. So if you use this resources tab, you can head over here to webinars. I'll send a link to this page in the chat as well. But here's where you can see all of our past webinar recordings. So if you're looking for a recording of this event, we'll typically post it about a week after the event. You can check back here anytime to view any of the previous webinars that we've had as well. All right, it looks like we might have some new messages in the chat here, so let me check on that. Okay, looks like we've got some folks asking about AIA credits, so I'm going to post the form again for AIA credits. We did ask for those upon registration, so we should have most of everyone's AIA numbers who wanted to include that, but we also have a form where you can submit that to us as well and request a certificate. All right, so looks like Henry Tom had asked for that. Henry, I just added that form as well. So feel free to give us your AIA number there. That'll ensure that we have it for that import process. Right. And then I'm going to drop this link in the chat to view the webinar recordings. So that is where you can go to check out any of our past webinars. And in probably about a week, we'll have this webinar uploaded as well. Let me check and see if we had any hands raised. Nope, we didn't. Oh, here, Q&A. There we go. All right, looks like this is an Acelab question. Does Acelab keep track of attendees for all webinars? Yes, so Acelab does keep track of this person's asking about attendance and certificates. Acelab does keep track of attendance for all webinars. Certificates and AIA credits are processed through the manufacturers that present the course, not through Acelab's team. So if you're looking for certificates or wondering about AIA credits, you can reach out to Acelab and we'll try to help get you in touch with the right person. But the best place to go is to just reach out to that manufacturer directly. So whoever presented the course that you took, you can always reach out to them directly on Acelab just by looking up that brand's name and clicking that contact button. That's an easy way to get directly in touch with the folks who are able to provide certificates and let you know about AIA credits as well. All right, looks like I saw another person put their AIA number in the chat, so please use that form to submit your AIA number. That is the best place to make sure that we have it. We will, try to grab things from the chat, but we can't guarantee that if you throw it in the chat that it'll make it onto our webinar report. So please use that form. We've posted it in the chat. It's a HubSpot form, so just go ahead and grab that and try to give us your AIA number there before the end of today. That would be great. All right. Well, we're going to give folks like a few more minutes just to see if there are any questions, and also give folks some time to grab any of those links from the chat. I'll post one more link for an event that we have tomorrow. This is a non-AIA approved event, but it's more of a product workshop. It's going to be a really fun, like discussion-based event. So if any of y'all are interested in making it, I think it's going to be a really great opportunity to kind of ask some questions out loud, have a lot of discussion around how to design handrails for accessibility and for ease using modular systems. So there's a link to that event sign up as well. All right, awesome. Got another AIA number in the Q&A, so I'm going to respond with this form again. Please use the form to submit your AIA numbers. That is the place where we will be able to gather everything in one place. All right, and looks like we do have another question for Matt. So how does integration work with security features, card readers, keypads, etc., assuming it's a security trade question?
Good question. The best way so we can do it by maglock. We can do reader on wall by maglock, or we can actually do reader on wall by strike. The way that integrates, so if you did reader on wall, you have no integration problems. It would just be like, you can match any traditional access control system. And how it works for us, just so there's a power jump from the receiver channel through to the electrified lock set. And then when that connects, it will jump and connect and release the strike. So that's the how, and it would match any traditional OEMs with reader on the wall. There is a wireless lock that is going to have some integration. It's not going to talk to all your head-end systems. So I'd recommend doing the traditional access control.
Awesome. All right, another one. Has pocketing door systems been researched by your company as an option in the future?
So we consider pocket doors or cavity sliders, as called, as actually a bit of a different category. So no, we don't offer any pocket doors at the moment. We want to keep it the accessible sliding doors for now.
All right, and then what is the code maximum number of persons permitted in a small room for exiting through your 36-inch clear slide single door?
Good question. I would say follow the same egress codes as you would at any traditional building. So for example, if you needed an occupancy load of 50 or greater for an exit device, that's not going to work for these openings. But if you have anything under 50 or greater, you have free egress like a traditional mortise lock. It's going to be one action to get out, and you will be fine specifying these in those instances.
Okay, awesome. All right, it looks like those might have been our last few questions. Give it another moment or so, see if anybody else has anything. Harry, I just responded to your chat about certificates and AIA numbers with that form again, so please enter your certificate request and your AIA number through that. All right, great. Well, if there are no more questions, we can let everyone go a bit early. There will be that post-event survey, so if you have any other questions that come up, feel free to submit them there, and then we can follow back up with you after today's event. And then, of course, there is also the ability to reach out to Serenity directly on Acelab. So let me actually throw a link to their page directly in the chat as well. Make that. So if you have like a project specific question, reaching out through Acelab is a great way to do that because you can upload any project details that you want to share directly to Acelab's platform. It'll be super easy to communicate back and forth. And then that is also actually integrated into email as well. So you'll get email notifications about any new messages on Acelab. You can respond to that email directly. That'll log in Acelab's platform too. So it's a super great way to like keep your communication organized, have it integrated into the rest of the communication that you're doing, but then be able to, log on to Acelab's platform where you can have all of your communication with reps organized by project, saved with your products as well. So there are a ton of benefits to using Acelab to communicate. But yeah, if you have any questions about doing that, feel free to book some time with Helen, use that live chat feature to reach out to us. But I just did post that link to the Serenity Sliding Door page on Acelab in chat. So please grab that if you are looking to connect after today's event. All right, looks like we've just got some thank yous coming in. So I want to thank everyone in the audience today so much for joining us and for asking some great questions. We really appreciate you coming out and spending time with us today. And thank you so much, Matt, for a great presentation.
Thanks, Bill. Appreciate everyone's time.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.